Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where we talk about everything related to cryptocurrency and tech. My name is Erie Bandis. Yes, that's like the lake. It's how I introduce myself to everyone. Figured I'd do the same for you guys. Just a little bit about me. I'm a software engineer here at a data company in Chicago. I have a bachelor's and master's in computer science, with my master's being specialized a bit in software engineering, AI, and machine learning. I actually have dabbled a little bit in cryptography too, but when it comes to cryptocurrency, I've been investing for a couple of years and I've been researching for a bit longer than that. I started this channel to help people understand cryptocurrency, its value, and why they should consider having it as an asset in their portfolio. The purpose of this video is to talk about the top 4 lend and earn platforms to help you gain passive income on your cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency isn't just about getting 10x gains. Why not add a 10% to that 10x? Which would be just about a 1x. But hey, that's a 1x. Is that 1 times? No, that's double. My math is bad. And as a heads up, I do have a link in the description for every single platform as a referral link where you get a bonus, I get a bonus, we all win.
Wow, winning.
So as a spoiler alert, you can see which platforms I talk about right away. But I do want you guys to know that I won't promote any products that I don't believe in or that I don't trust in. Every platform that I talk about in this video, I do use on a daily basis. And before I get into the video, I do want to discuss the criteria that I'm looking at across all these platforms. The main criteria that I'm going to be using is selection, interest rates and interest model, withdrawal limits and withdrawal fees, and reward distribution rate and reward accrual rate. Now, mind you, these aren't evenly distributed. For me personally, I like to emphasize more on selection and interest rates and interest model, but the other two are still very important. For the 4th pick, BlockFi. BlockFi is one of the biggest name brands that you've probably heard in either advertisements from YouTubers or just your friends or maybe your grandpa. But because of that, it has so many users, and because of the fact that they have so many users, it's trusted by a lot of people. But chances are, if you've even dabbled a little bit in crypto, you've heard of BlockFi. So now let's get into the first criteria, selection. And just as a heads up, the way I'm going to be discussing selection is usually focused on BTC and ETH, and then stable coins, and then altcoins. For BlockFi, they don't support a vast selection. All they do is support the basics like BTC and ETH, stable coins, and 4 altcoins. Those altcoins are Uni, BAT, Link, and LTC. Not the biggest selection, definitely not the most popular coins. For selection, I give it a 2 out of 5. I really think that BlockFi could step it up when it comes to selection, especially when it's compared to the other platforms that we're going to be talking about in this video. Now, let's look at interest rates and interest model. The first thing that we're going to discuss is the interest model. BlockFi utilizes a tier-like structure where if you deposit a certain amount, after that amount, it starts to get deducted and deducted more for the interest rate. Let's look at one of the examples, Uni or Uniswap token. You would earn 3.25% interest on the first 100 Uni tokens. But from the 100 to 500 tokens, so those 400 tokens, you would only earn about 0.2% interest. And then anything after the 500 Uni tokens, you only get 0.1% interest. This is a thing across all their tokens. So now let's look at the interest rates across BTC and ETH, stable coins, and altcoins. BTC only has a 4.5% interest on the first 0.1 Bitcoin. What? And then from 0.1 to 0.35, you're getting 1%, and then everything after 0.35, you're getting just a measly 0.1%. What the fuck? ETH is not really any better. ETH gives you about 5% interest up to 1.5 ETH, then 1.5% interest up to 50 ETH, then everything after that is about 0.25%. For stablecoins, it's actually a lot better. They give you a 9% interest rate up to $40,000, and everything after that is still 8%. So the deduction there is not that severe. I mean, hell, tell me one savings account that gives you 1% interest, let alone 9% interest. Now, I do have to give a disclaimer that this isn't FDIC insured, but I'm going to talk more about that in the conclusion of this video. And then in terms of altcoins, BlockFi gives about 3.25% interest to 4.75% interest with that deduction tier model still in place. It really just depends on which altcoin you are earning on. So in terms of the interest rate and interest model, I have to give it a 2 out of 5.
Disappointed!
I think interest rates on BTC and ETH and altcoins are super low. I think the deductions are very severe. I think the only thing that's redeeming for this is stable coins, and that's personally what I use BlockFi for, is stablecoin. Now let's talk about withdrawal fees. BlockFi allows each user 1 cryptocurrency withdrawal and 1 stablecoin withdrawal for free per month. After that, it's subject to fees. Not only that, BlockFi actually takes a while to process your withdrawals. They go by business days. Now that's archaic. Overall, for withdrawal fees and withdrawal limits, I have to give it a 2 out of 5 for BlockFi. I think these can be vastly improved, and I really think that they're trying to make a lot of money on the withdrawal fees from their users. And finally, let's talk about the reward, accrual rate, and distribution rate. This is pretty simple. It accrues daily and it pays out monthly. Based on these 2 points, I give it a 3 out of 5. I'm not the biggest fan of monthly, but it's not the end of the world for me because when I put on BlockFi, I'm not expecting my money right away. I use BlockFi more as a makeshift savings account, essentially. Overall, I have to give BlockFi a 2 out of 5. I think BlockFi is great if you want to save your stable coins there and treat it as a savings account that isn't FDIC insured. But I think for altcoins, for Bitcoin and ETH, and if you're moving your money around a lot, I don't think BlockFi is the place for it. But it is also nice that it is trusted by so many people, and it's a reason why I trust it. Now, for the third pick, Celsius. Now, Celsius is another platform that you've probably heard of, especially in this bull run, because they've really made waves. And fun fact, Celsius is the first platform that I used. So let's get right into it. So for selection, Celsius does a great job. They have all the basics that we mentioned before with BlockFi of BTC and ETH, and stable coins. But not only that, they have a lot of popular altcoins like Polkadot, Cardano, Aave, Synthetics, and much, much more. So because of that, I have to give Celsius a 5 out of 5. They really listen to their customers. I've seen them add coins like Polkadot and Cardano recently because the customers were asking for it. Now let's talk about the interest rate and interest model. The interest model is surrounded around the Celsius token CEL. It's a little complex, but not too complex. There's 2 ways that the CEL token impacts earnings. First way is how much of the CEL token you hold in relation to the rest of your assets on the platform. Let me give an example. Let's say you have $10,000 on Celsius. $2,500 is in the CEL token, $7,500 is in Bitcoin. Because of this ratio, you're a platinum holder. So what does this mean? Well, in this example, you get 25% more earnings on your Bitcoin earnings. So instead of getting 6.2% interest on Bitcoin, you now get 7.75%, which is a big jump. The only downside with this is if the CEL token starts going down in value, you do have to top it up in order to get that loyalty level back. Not only that, if Bitcoin starts to go up, that can also bring your CEL token ratio down. So it's something that you have to constantly monitor. For example, the other day I was at 5% loyalty level and I dropped down to 4%. So I was bronze and I lost it and now I'm getting no bonus on my earnings. For me, it's not the best thing, but Celsius does make up for it with great base interest rates. The second metric of how the CEL token helps is for international users and not United States users. Not as free as we thought. Essentially, let's go back to the previous example and look at the $7,500 of Bitcoin. All the rewards that you get in that Bitcoin, you can either earn in Bitcoin for 6.2% interest, or you can earn in CEL for a bonus. And what this means is you can combine the loyalty bonus with earning in CEL token to earn higher interest. So these are 2 ways that the CEL token impacts your earnings. Now let's talk about the base interest rate. For Bitcoin, you get 6.2% interest up to the first Bitcoin, and everything after that is 3.51%. So it is a tier-like structure similar to BlockFi, but on Celsius, that's only for Bitcoin and Ethereum. To hit Ethereum's deduction, you have to hit 100 ETH. So the first 100 ETH, you're getting 5.35% interest, and then afterwards, you're getting 3.52% interest. So still way higher interest compared to BlockFi. On stablecoins, you're getting 8.88% interest rate. And then for altcoins, these all differ because there are so many different altcoins on Celsius, but some of them are pretty great. Like Aave gives you about 5%, Synthetics gives you about 14%, and they do vary from time to time based on a lot of factors. But overall, from what I've noticed, they're pretty great compared to other platforms. Based on the interest rate and interest model, I have to give Celsius a 4 out of 5. I'm not the biggest fan of the interest model just because of the fact that if the CEL token goes down, you could be penalized for it and not get bonus earnings. But I think the base interest rates are amazing, and I still do like that they offer the option with the CEL token. Now let's talk about withdrawal fees and withdrawal times. So withdrawal fees, there are none. There's literally no limit. You can keep withdrawing as much as you want and you pay no fees. Not only that, it's pretty instant. I've only had it a couple times where Celsius has taken a bit longer than usual to withdraw, and that was just because of very volatile times in the market. So overall, I have to give Celsius a 5 out of 5. I mean, they do a lot better than BlockFi in this scenario because they don't go by business days, not paying any fees. What I will say as a caveat is that you have to wait 24 hours to withdraw from Celsius as a security measure anytime you add an address. So you might want to add an address as soon as you deposit into Celsius. That way you don't have to worry about withdrawing on a volatile time and you want to sell. Not saying you should sell when it's low, but I'm just saying if the value of something you have in Celsius went really high, You might want to take profits. Not financial advice. None of this is financial advice, just knowledge. So overall, for withdrawal fees and withdrawal times, I give Celsius a 5 out of 5. They do an amazing job and I love it. Then for the reward distribution rate and accrual rate, very simple, both are weekly. I give that a 4 out of 5. A lot better than BlockFi, and I can live with weekly. I mean, hell, I look forward to every Monday when I see the reward earnings, and then I go on the subreddit and I see people earning thousands of dollars weekly from their earnings and realize how little I have compared to other people. But hey, I mean, good for everyone else. We're all making money. So overall with Celsius, I give it a 4 out of 5. Now you might be thinking, if I give it a 4 out of 5, why is it my third pick? Thing is, there's a lot of great platforms that I've used, and the 4 that I'm mentioning in this video are all great. I think where Celsius comes in clutch is with their cryptocurrency selection and their base interest rates. I use it for pretty much all my coins, whether it's altcoins, Bitcoin, ETH, or stable coins. And I don't take advantage too much of the sell token. That's just because I have to hold so much in relation to my other assets, which I don't want to do at this time. Now, let's get into the second pick. FTX Blockfolio. So you've probably heard of Blockfolio. You've probably used it in the past if you've dabbled a little bit in cryptocurrency. It was one of the first tracking platforms for tracking your cryptocurrency assets across multiple exchanges and wallets. And it did a pretty great job of it. So great that FTX, the exchange, actually acquired Blockfolio. So now that's why it's known as either FTX or FTX Blockfolio or FTX formerly Blockfolio. But when FTX acquired Blockfolio, they brought a suite of products, one of which is the Earn. And on FTX, you can actually earn interest similar to BlockFi and Celsius. So first, let's get into selection. I will say for FTX Blockfolio, it's a pretty average selection. You have your Bitcoin and ETH, you have your stable coins, although not USDC for some reason, and they have Tether, which I hate, but we'll get into that in another video. And then you also have altcoins, not too many altcoins, but you do have ones that are in demand. You have Sol, Aave, Matic, and then surprisingly you have Doge and Shiba Inu. So I guess if you want, you can earn interest on your meme coins, which, hey, I'm not seeing many other platforms do that, so that's a plus if you're in some meme coins. So for selection, I have to give it a 3 out of 5. It's pretty good, and I think they'll continue to add more products. I think FTX Blockfolio will continue to add cryptocurrencies to their platform. I mean, hell, FTX only just acquired Blockfolio, I think this past summer. Now let's get into the interest rates and interest model. So this is actually super simple, and I love it. What FTX Blockfolio does is a flat 8% interest on everything up to $10,000 on your portfolio. Everything after that, 5%. It's literally that easy. You don't have to worry about anything else. You don't have to worry about holding a certain amount of token. You don't have to worry about deductions. Well, other than the first deduction after $10,000. But it's equal to every cryptocurrency. There's no specific deductions across cryptocurrencies. So yeah, I personally love it. We don't even have to talk about for each single cryptocurrency. It's literally the same rate for all of them. So I will say for Bitcoin and ETH and altcoins, it's amazing. For stablecoins, it's not the best just because you can get higher interest rates on other platforms. And because of that, I give it a 4 out of 5 for the entire interest rate and interest model, but I love it. I love the simplicity of it, and knowing that I can get 8% interest on Bitcoin and ETH, probably the two most safest cryptocurrency assets. You can't really get that anywhere else unless you really use their interest models to the maximum on other platforms. Now let's talk about withdrawal times and withdrawal fees. So from what I can find online, there are no withdrawal fees. I can't remember ever paying withdrawal fees, and I do remember withdrawal times actually being pretty fast. So most of these platforms aren't like BlockFi that go by business days. Your withdrawals are pretty much instant. It really just depends on the blockchain and the confirmations on the blockchain, and that's literally it. You don't have to go by business days. So because of this, I give it a 5 out of 5. I mean, it's great that we're not paying fees. It's great that it's pretty fast. I can't say for sure that later on there won't be fees. I can see FTX Blockfolio doing this to attract new customers, especially since they just started this product. But as of now, I'm loving it. And now to talk about the most insane part is the reward, accrual rate, and distribution rate. I want you to just close your eyes and just imagine what you think it is and realize that this rate is actually faster. It's literally hourly. They accrue it hourly and they pay you out hourly. I have never seen any platform ever do this, whether it's in crypto or in the financial world. Never have I seen this. But to me, I will say, I don't need to be paid hourly, but it is nice knowing that they can pay me hourly, that they have the money to pay every single user on the platform hourly. It does give me a sense of more trust to them. So for FTX Blockfolio, I give them a 4 out of 5. I think they're pretty great, I love the simplicity of their interest rate interest model. They have a decent selection. Withdrawal limits and withdrawal fees are good. Reward, accrual, not the biggest thing to me, but it is pretty cool that they pay you hourly. Overall, what I use FTX Blockfolio for is my Bitcoin and ETH, because you can't compete with 8% on any other platform unless you go above and beyond on their interest models. I also like to put some of my altcoins on there that I believe are gonna be there in the future. As a heads up, you can't divvy up which certain cryptocurrencies on the platform gain more interest. So everything is split equally and everything gains equal 8% or equal 5%. Now, for the first pick, Crypto.com. I have to say, Crypto.com is by far probably one of my most favorite platforms. Crypto.com is a platform that hosts a suite of products, everything from their exchange to NFTs to their Visa card and to, of course, earn. You've probably heard of Crypto.com through their extensive marketing. Ever heard of Matt Damon? They have insane marketing, you gotta love it. And I'll probably make another video of the Crow token and the Crow ecosystem and why I think it's great. But as of now, let's focus on the earn model. So let's get into selection. In terms of selection, Crypto.com does the best across any platform I've ever utilized. They literally have so many cryptocurrencies. There's all the ones that I've mentioned previously here, but there's also cryptocurrencies that you probably haven't heard of that are a lot less known, and you can gain interest on all of those. And not only that, you can gain better interest rates on all of those compared to other platforms. Because of that, I have to give Crypto.com a 5 out of 5 on selection. They just go above and beyond. Hell, I want to give them a 6 out of 5, but I won't, because 5 is the max and we'll stay to that. Now let's talk about interest rates and interest models. I will say the interest model here is a bit complex, but also pretty simple. So the reason I say it's simple is because there's only 2 metrics that determine your rates, aside from the cryptocurrency you are trying to get interest on. So the first metric is time, meaning how long you're willing to lock up your tokens, either flexible, 1 month, or 3 month. Then the second metric is how much Crow you stake for their Visa card. So they connect this earn product with their Visa product. The way that works is you get an interest rate based on how much Crow you're staking. That goes based on the dollar value. So you get the normal rate below $4,000 of Crow stake. Then if you stake Crow past $4,000 up to $40,000, you get a bonus interest rate. And then anything above $40,000, you get even more interest rate. The thing is, you can combine these 2 metrics to fit your versatile needs on all your cryptocurrencies to get a vast selection of different interest rates. That's why I think it's amazing, because you don't have to stake $4,000 or $40,000 of Crow. You can use time as an asset, lock it up for longer if you don't need it anytime soon, and get more interest. So now let's actually get into the interest rates. For Bitcoin, you can get anywhere from 1.5% to 8.5%. ETH, you can get anywhere from 3.5% to 8.5%. For me personally, I do want you guys to know that I have the Jade Green card, meaning that I have staked at least $4,000, although that value has gone up a lot higher because when I purchased the Crow token, it was about 10 cents and now it's like at 35 cents. Personally, what I do for Bitcoin and ETH is I stake $4,000 of Crow for the Jade Green card, and I lock it up for 3 months because I plan on holding it for years and years and years. Because of that, I get 6.5% interest. Less than FTX Blockfolio, but past the first $10,000 of FTX Blockfolio, it actually gives a higher interest rate on this platform. Then for stablecoins, it ranges anywhere from 6% to 14.5%. For example, I do my stake with the Jade Green card and the 3-month lockup usually if I don't need that money anytime soon, and I get a 12% interest rate on my stablecoins. Way higher than 9% on BlockFi or 8.88% on Celsius. But even if you don't have the Jade Green card, you can still get a 10% interest rate if you lock up for 3 months, which is still a lot higher than BlockFi and Celsius. Now for altcoins, it ranges anywhere from 0.5% to 5%. As an example, like I said, I have the Jade Green card and I do 3-month lockups for altcoins that I also will plan on holding during the bear market and just long term, and I get 3% interest rate. I will say as a caveat to this, some of the altcoins aren't the best for interest rates. For example, Cosmos will give you 3%, but you can probably stake it and get around 10%. So it doesn't make sense to use Crypto.com for something like Cosmos. But what I use it for is assets like VeChain, where 3% you can't really get on other platforms, and it's a great amount. Overall, for the interest rate and interest model, I have to give it a 5 out of 5. The main reason I say this is because they provide such a versatile model that it can really suit your needs. You can use time as an asset if you don't have stake, or if you don't want to lock it up for a long period, but you have the money, money, you can use higher stake and really increase your assets. The biggest thing about this is that it's different from the sell token, because if you stake $4,000 of CRO, even if that value goes down, as long as you keep it staked, it will be treated as still the same $4,000. You don't have to keep topping it up in order to keep that level. Whereas with Celsius, you have to constantly keep that level and constantly monitor that ratio. Now let's get into withdrawal fees and withdrawal time. So in terms of withdrawal fees, it really depends on each asset. There's a link in the description that has a large table that will outline every single asset and the fee that is associated with that withdrawal. In terms of time, very fast, similar to Celsius, similar to FTX Blockfolio. No waiting business days, we're not in the Stone Age. In terms of the reward distribution rate and accrual time, it accrues daily and it pays out weekly. So pretty comparable to Celsius. Of course, not as good as FTX Blockfolio, but a lot better than BlockFi. So what score do I give Crypto.com? 5 out of 5. I think Crypto.com does such a good job between their selection, which I'm telling you now, go look at it, is super vast. And then also they do a great job on their interest model that helps to fit your needs, because your needs might be different from mine. I like to lock up my assets for 3 months and have my Jade Green card, but you might not have the Jade Green card and you might only want to stake it for 1 month, which is still a great amount and it's still comparable to other platforms for the interest rates. Then I think in terms of withdrawal times, fees, reward accrual rate, reward distribution rate, it's very comparable to the other platforms. The biggest thing, like I said, to me is always going to be the interest rates, selection, and interest model. And I think Crypto.com does an amazing job with this. So now to wrap it up. So I will say all these platforms are great. Obviously some like BlockFi have room to grow. Now you might be wondering, why don't I just use Crypto.com since it's my #1 choice? Main reason, like I said before, is that your money on these platforms is not FDIC insured. You can't throw your money here and expect it to be like a savings account where it's very safe. I trust these platforms. At the same time, cryptocurrency is still very new. These platforms can go under or get hacked. You don't know what can happen. Now, if I have all my money on one platform and it goes under or I can lose that money, it's gonna hurt. But if I have my money spread out across all 4 platforms, it won't feel as bad. It'll suck, but it won't be nearly as bad. And what I also like to do is I play into the strengths of each single platform. Personally, I like to put Bitcoin and ETH on FTX Blockfolio for the first $10,000 and a few of the altcoins that I really believe in. And I also put altcoins and Bitcoin and ETH on Celsius, and I put Bitcoin and ETH for long lockup periods on Crypto.com for 6.5% interest, because that's better than the 5% I would get on FTX Blockfolio after the first $10,000. And for stable coins, I use Crypto.com for long lockup periods, or I'll use Celsius or BlockFi for shorter term holding essentially, and still getting a good interest rate. Then I'll use Crypto.com, Celsius, or FTX Blockfolio for my altcoins, and that really just depends on comparing the interest rate per altcoin across staking, all these different platforms, and more. This is the model that I choose, but you can choose your own model. You might want to just put everything on one platform, or you might only want to use 2. It really depends up to you. This is just what I've chosen after working with these platforms for over a year now. And I gotta say, I love it. Earning interest on my cryptocurrency is probably by far the best thing, because now the interest that I've earned on some of these things, for example, Matic, where I bought 40,000 tokens about at under 2 cents, and I was gaining about 14% interest on Celsius. Those interest tokens that I earned grew exponentially now, because the tokens that I was rewarded was 14% on that 40,000, and Matic went up to above $2 from when I sold. At the end of the day, feel free to try these platforms and figure out which one feels better to you. You have to do your own research. You might decide that you don't want to use these platforms at all and you want to keep your money in a software wallet or a hardware wallet. That's really up to you. That's perfectly fine. But if you do decide to use these platforms, feel free to use the referral links in the description. You get a bonus, I get a bonus, we both win. Not only that, feel free to hit the like button, because that tells me that I'm doing something right. It gets my videos pushed out to other people, and it helps provide the feedback that I need to improve on this channel. If you want to keep watching my videos and learning more about cryptocurrency tech, cryptocurrency knowledge, and more, anything related to cryptocurrency, feel free to hit the subscribe button below. And thanks, guys. I hope to see you next time. Good luck on your cryptocurrency journey, and let's enjoy this bull run.